Greetings, everyone. I am here now. I hope everybody's doing well. It's Friday. I myself am particularly happy about that. Because my feet have been killing me. Because work has been steady, but also a lot of standing around or moving slowly, right? Because it's not that busy. So that causes my feet to really hurt. And my bone spurs, they don't help. And I sound like an 80-year-old woman. But whatever. That's just unfortunately how it is. Oh, and my neighbor's dogs have been barking for a week straight. With like 30-minute pauses in between their barking. Yeah, it's been nice. It's been very enjoyable. No, I'm just waiting for one person to come in here to ask for advice on that, because I do want to call animal control, but yeah, baby. Hi, how are you? But I do not wish to call them before I know better, because I don't want to put the dogs in any danger. I don't want that. I don't want to put the dogs in danger of being euthanized or anything like that. So I want to make sure that I cover all my bases before I call animal control. But once I do, then I will. But anyway, sorry that I'm on my phone here while I'm talking to you. But how are you doing? Yeah, baby. I don't think I've seen you. Oh, first time chat, it says. Yeah. Like, wow. I can't believe I didn't, I just noticed that. Ooh. But anyway, I loved it. I find that one funny. What is this? Indeed. That's nice. I have a topic to discuss tonight. I know it's probably only you here right now. But I don't know if any of my my regulars are in here, maybe just lurking right now, not saying anything. But I did post the topic for today in Discord. For for the people that are in Discord. These dogs have been literally just forgotten out there. They just leave them out there. I don't even know if these dogs have water or food. So I am not mad at those dogs whatsoever. I'm mad at the people. Topics on theosophy, if you will. Theological philosophy, if you will. It is about spirituality. This is what this channel is about, and this is what we discuss here. I give readings in between, but lately we've been kind of drifting off the topic, and we've just been kind of fucking around a little bit instead of, they don't, and the neighbors just got home. Yes. So it's theosophy. Theosophy. I don't know quite how you pronounce it properly. We mainly discuss, or I mainly discuss works of Helena Blavatsky. She actually founded the Theosophists sect back in the 1800s. and she has written a couple of books on the matter of spirituality. She was born in Russia, and she was an author, and she was a spiritualist and an occultist, and a medium also. And she traveled the world in doing research on this particular topic of spirituality, of theology, of religion, of the spirituality that dwells in every religion, the foundation, the basics of it. And so what I've been doing is I've been dissecting her book, The Secret Doctrine. I've already read Isis Unveiled, which is her first work, I believe, that she published. But I have not discussed any really of this on stream yet. But I'm now in the middle of reading The Secret Doctrine, so I just take something. I don't know why I'm having trouble speaking today. Usually it comes right out of me. I don't know. I take like a part of the page that I think I can. It's like a little summary, and I can compact it, and then I expand on that topic. And I have not really. I'm not going to be going off too far from what I discussed last time, which I think that most people don't even really remember what it was about, so it doesn't even really matter. I try to make it so that you don't have to remember what we talked about in the last stream, unless I can just say it in a few sentences, and then, it can get going. It's not really a religion as more of a research group. That's at least book. Yeah, I always call it like the Sect of the Dragon, which I call my channel, which is the sect that I'm trying to build pretty much. And I like to call it usually like a book club on steroids, right? Because I want this sect to be all about spiritual research, and all about the comparisons that we experience in life, or that we have learned in life, in all the religions. If I have somebody of the Christian faith come in here and tell me, oh, there's something I find very interesting spiritually in the Christian faith, and then there's somebody else that's of the pagan faith and can say, oh, I can relate to this, I have read this somewhere else. And so trying to really dig and go as far back as possible to really uncover things that are in the dark to us, about spirituality and things like that. The dragon religion. Well, it is really mainly a spiritual research group. That is what I like to describe it as. Oh, hi, Havocsai, how are you? Welcome. Yeah, so that's what we discussed. What I try to do is I really, it's been kind of hard because I get a lot of people in here that they just want a reading and then they leave. They're not really interested in the topic that I'm trying to talk about. But I'm trying to get people in here that have some sort of, education in the sense of, spirituality, be it in their own religion, or that they have done a lot of reading on topics that are involved with that, so that we can really it's like comparing notes, right? Even like the other time in the stream we talked about analyzing dreams, for instance. That's part of it. All of these things that are not of this of the normality, I guess, right? Of the mundane realm, that, things that are out of the ordinary and that are to science still unexplainable, where to the occultists and metaphysicists it is very much explainable, right? But all this is anyway is that Helena always had this thing. She was, in the sense, a little bit of an extremist, where she would always kind of bash the scientists in her book, but not like really. She wouldn't really expand on that too much. Hi, Diddly Engine, welcome, greetings. But she would always kind of make a smart remark at the end of a sentence, sometimes, once in a while, about how, scientists, will always reach a wall because they live in a sort of arrogance, and they will never go past that. Where, when you really think about it, the the meaning of being a scientist, or the interpretation, whichever one, wherever you find yourself, is that you will always want to go further, right? Because that's what science is all about, to keep on going, to find out more, and go down to all the way down, or all the way up, wherever you want to go, to find out where something comes from, pretty much. And so oh, my music. Sorry, I just heard this, but yeah, sure. If you can redeem a reading by spending crystals. If you want a 3-card reading, 150 crystals. If you want a 10-card reading, you can subscribe to me. You can get a 10-card reading, or you can spend 500 bits. That's up to you. But if you subscribe, you also get to use my emotes that I have designed myself, and you get no ad breaks. And you can have a 1-card reading just by saying, I want just a 1-card reading. So that's up to you, whatever you want. Yeah, that's true, baby. I'm just gonna call you that, if that's okay. That makes it a little easier. But yeah, it is. But that's the whole thing with her. It's like I take it more as like almost like a motivation, or almost like an encouragement, for if a scientist is to read one of her books, which they probably are, because I feel like scientists would be people, because I consider myself a scientist in a sense too, because doing research and such, and experimentation is of scientific, standard, I guess. But it's like you probably find a scientist that's like secretly like opening her book and is reading, and what are you reading? Nothing. You know what I mean? Like and they're like, boy, she's talking so much shit. She's right. I feel like this was probably one of those things, because in the time that she was alive and that she did these things, it was very controversial, especially of a woman, to go to these lengths in trying to really prove a point, and on the scientific basis. When I say theological philosophy, it's also very much based on science. Like, I mean, really, it is really science, but with its tentacles spread out into the spiritual realm. Really, like, if you read her, it's just so enjoyable, because you really read it not like some lunatic, like, no offense, but for instance, Aleister Crowley, to me, just a complete fucking lunatic, right? That there may have been a sliver of stuff that had some actual substance and maybe truth to it, but with her, it is a completely, like, highly intelligent and composed and cognitive and aware and conscious mind that's dissecting things to the T, and literally trying to explain spiritual molecules scientifically, not just fucking. She really puts scientists' actual data in there that they to explain, and then she branches off of there and explains her theories on this, where she thinks it keeps on going, where the scientist stops, or whatever, the equations. So yeah, and exactly, Havocs. I am very much notorious of this too, because it's like, you guys all know that I call myself a shamanka, or I call myself a verlure, or I call myself a witch, whatever you want to call it. But I practice, shamanism, witchcraft, magic, whatever you want to call. I dabble in the occult, all, whatever. But I am very much a person that will disregard more things and occurrences than I will actually say that this is actually something that I manifested, or that manifested from another side. I will go through everything first, and there's often, more often than not, disappointment, because I can scientifically say, oh, this is what caused this. And then I sit here and I say, crap, I bash this. But the dozens of times throughout my lifetime that it hasn't happened, okay, good, But it is always a disappointment when that happens. But we cannot live in a delusion. When we can explain it by science, that's how it is. You cannot say, like, no offense, but like a lot of Christians do, where they say, no, it's God, it's not science. Science is wrong. God, it's God. And it's like, you can't. There's literal data. There's like mathematical equations, chemical, physical equations that are proven on paper and in practice that will tell you that this is a scientific thing. This is not by God. Like, when a Christian looks in the sky and I see like the shining light from the sun, and the rays look like super magical, they'll sit there and say, God made that. And it's like, well, define God. Because, like, when you talk about a little man that walked in the Middle East for 35 years and did like magical things, but he was his father, which was like a guy with a long white beard in the sky, and all of that. Like, that's not who did that. God, in a sense of, in like a non-human-like state, a God of, if you call a certain invisible matter, like for instance dark matter, if you say God as in dark matter is the God that made that, then you could sit here and say, okay, let's see what science says about that, because there could be a possibility that a human made all of this is impossible, because humans didn't even come into existence. So that doesn't even make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, humans weren't even the first creatures on this earth. When you say that a human-like God created this earth or this whole universe, that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, there's literally, and that's not even science, that's just common sense that will tell you that does not make any sense. So please stop. When you read like the Indian Vedas, for instance, which I just finished reading, they put it very intelligently, and they will really God. I mean, extremely about the God thing, even more so than in the Bible. But they will reiterate it here and there that when they speak about God, they speak about the inconceivable. They speak about this, whatever this may be, that did all this. This is never described as a person of any type, or the son of the human son of that. Never, because that would not align with science. And when you really look at the Eastern, like when you look at Buddhism, when you look at Hinduism, a lot of these things are really based in science, and that's also where Helena Blavatsky gets a lot of her education from, and actually ended up, before she died, converting to Buddhism. And all of these things are not really necessarily religions, but they're actually really just cultural ways of life, and that's something that people really, really need to understand. Because the other day I saw something on Facebook and I commented on it when they said, somebody posted on, it was this occult page that I'm on, it said, what do you, I cannot really recall exactly how it went, but it was along the lines of like, what do you know that is called a religion that is actually not a religion? And I looked at the comments, and some people put like so stupid shit in there, whatever. And I put paganism, because if you read books on paganism based on archaeological evidence, as little as there is, but then dissected and really interpreted, it was never a religion. Paganism was not an indoctrinated religion like Christianity, where you had the rules, where you gotta worship here and there, Sunday, Wednesday, blah blah blah, whatever. It was never like that. It was literally just a way of life. It was just a way of living. When you looked in the sky, said Thor is raining all on us all day. He must be mad at us. These people, my people, looked at Thor. And Thor was an ancestor. Thor was somebody from their family that had died, hundreds or thousands, depending on what time, thousands of years ago. But it was a person that was alive at some point and has now become a god. They're dead and they're now a god. And not a god is like, I will smite you with my powers. No, it doesn't work like that. But it's just like, that's where, for instance, you plug in the teachings of Helena Blavatsky. A god is nothing really but a molecule that is part of a manifestation that has its own soul. Every molecule of everything around us is something not inanimate, but it's actually a living thing, and it has a soul, and it's a god in itself, So it goes really, there's so much to it, but totally digressed there, and not even knowing now where the fuck I was. But anyway, talking about science, yeah. So science is my girl, that's just I hate when people come to me all the time. Like, I literally had somebody in the stream one time, and they said, hey Scooby, oh, sorry, Engine, I don't know what to do. Space Jesus. Common sense. Oh, common sense isn't common practice? Yeah. I always hear this, common sense is not that common these days, I guess. But shit, now I was gonna say something and I fucking lost it. What was I gonna talk about? Shit. I don't know what I was talking about now. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. So one time I had somebody in the stream here, and I'm really not trying to make fun of that person, because that's not fair. Because in their mind and in their moment in their life in that time, it really meant that, and it was of huge importance and of huge thought and of huge anxiety to them, right? So I'm not trying to make fun of them, but I do think it is so weird, because this person literally talked about how they had a nail in their tire in their car, and it popped their car tire, and they asked me if they were cursed because of that nail in their tire. Am I cursed because I had a flat tire because of a nail in it? And I'm like, now I really, it's hard, of course, because I'm human too, right? Oh my God, Havoxai, thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. So, of course, my first human reaction is, of course, like, it's a judgmental reaction. I do not live by a Christian God. I can judge, right? My life is all about judging, and people can do the same to me. I don't mind, Now, the first instinct is like, I judge them, and I was like, oh, come on. But then I take myself automatically out of it, and I was like, okay, let me really look at this, and let me really, think about this for a second, and feel their energy, feel whatever I can, to see, because it is very little through the computer screen like that, it is. And then I really sat there, and then the visions came, and I'm like, okay, that person thinks they're cursed all the time. about every little thing. If they have a fucking clogged fucking toilet, they think they're cursed. And I had to say literally, like, listen, you're not cursed. I have to give the bad news to people all the time. You're not cursed. And they're like, are you sure? Because blah 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 blah. And I'm like, no, because I know what is a generational curse. I know, please, I know. And not just from myself, but from others that actually are cursed. I know people that are actually cursed. This is not a pop tire here and there. This is not a clogged toilet. This is not a fucking paycheck short of $10. No, this is like really critical things happen. And they reacted okay to it, you know, they weren't so bad. But oftentimes when I give people the bad news, they just leave or they get aggressive toward me. And it's like, well, you asked me. I am not going to sit here and lie to you. Please do not be delusional. You know, I want to say this to many people. It's like, don't be delusional, please. Like, think critically and think logically first before you say it's God, or before you say it's the gods, or before you say it's fucking it's ghosts or it's demons or whatever. Like, really, because I always tell you guys this stuff is far and few in between, unless you summon that stuff, and then even then it's not as much as you think it is, you know. I don't know. All right. Sorry. I'm talking. Yes, exactly, baby. That's exactly what it is. So the way also another Blavatsky teaching that I really agree with is that, you know, all myth and all these stories, all of it in all the books and everything, most of it is totally an exaggeration, right? It's totally like decorated with all this fucking crazy shit. When you peel back all the layers, like I said, that is also my, you know, that is my biggest point with this. You come to the core, and that's the truth. And the truth is tiny, but it's there, you know. So it's like, did Thor have a hammer that did that? No. You know, he was a man. He probably had like a huge hammer that not other people in this time, in this area had. And so people were like, whoa, this is a magical hammer. This thing is huge, and this thing is like shiny, and, you know, whoa, you know, and that's what it was. Fucking Jesus probably went around and was like, check it out, guys, check it out. And people were like, whoa, he can disconnect his fingers, man. Nobody can do that here. You know what I'm saying? So, thank you, Havoxai. Yes, I really appreciate that. That means a lot. That means a lot. You know, so that's the thing. You know, not to say that, you know, the story about Jesus, for instance, healing the blind man, right? I think there might be a truth to it. I think this could be very true. I think he had the details are just totally lost now. It's all about just magic, and he just put his hands or whatever he did, and it worked. It probably wasn't like that. He probably had a remedy. The guy probably had fucking an infection behind his eyes. In German, we call it a Bindehautentzündung. It's an infection of the skin behind the eyes, and it's a very severe infection. It will cause pus out of the eye, and it can be really bad. And then the eyelids will close, and you can't even open them because stuff comes out of it. So maybe he had something like this. Jesus had this certain herb, rubbed it on the eye, and the guy said, I can see. Boom, there you have it. No, it was magic from God. You know what I mean? It's like, no, bro. He was more knowledgeable, and he maybe he had a clairvoyance to, because, you know, when you practice magic, you have a clairvoyancy to yourself. You know, it's magnetism that you do. You manifest this stuff, yes, but it isn't all fucking sci-fi like described in the books, and like fucking Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. It isn't like that. It really works on a very minuscule electromagnetic level. You know what I'm saying? And it works. That's why I do believe in a few hundred years from now, what is this called? not maybe telepathy too, but when you move objects with your hands, that will be common for people to be able to do. Because I think in a few hundred years from now, we will be able to really harness this magic that we practice into really, really condensed, and then we will be able to do that, and we will be able to push objects. We will be able to do this, like Star Wars, for instance. Yes, it's science fiction now. I believe in a few thousand years from now, Star Wars, that will be reality. Yes, I truly believe that. Because we just keep evolving as humans. Our brains will grow bigger. We'll be able to do more things. And you know, that's how it's always been. You know, people say we get dumber. No, we don't. It's not that way. We get smarter, but, you know, convenience is just at our fingertips, and it makes it appear as we're growing stupider, you know? Okay, Scooby, I saw you redeemed that. Sorry, I'm a blabber thing here, but yeah. So there's a lot to these things, and I really, but my main thing is always that people need to be aware that not everything is of supernatural origin. Like, I wish I was floating on my fucking flying carpet right now, or my broom, and I wish my cat could talk. Hey, Littles. I mean, she can, but just not a human language. But you know what I mean? Like Sabrina, the teenage witch, like, I fucking wish. You think I'd do anything? I just sit at home all day, just on the couch. Just ding, my drink comes right flying to me. My fucking, whatever. It's not that way, people, because that's also a problem. You can't have one without the other. Because if I said that to, well, now that's crazy. Oh, that's crazy, right? But Jesus just putting a finger on or his hand there and it's healed. That's not crazy? That's okay then. Come on now. You know? But then again, that particular instance could have also been no herbs, and he really did put his hand there, and he was, you know, but we don't know. It's very questionable, but many of these things are just, they don't even really make any sense. They rewrite the book. That's why there's so many Genesis and da-da-da-da-da. They have to rewrite it, then, oh, shit, it doesn't make sense anymore. Let's rewrite it. Oh, fuck. Oh, God, we gotta rewrite it. Oh, my God, we gotta rewrite it again. We can't do it like this now. You know, people are starting to figure us out. Oh, fuck, okay, rewrite it. Whereas, you know, the ancient books, ancient books older than 2,000 years, they have never been rewritten. They stayed the same the whole time through. Nobody went there because they're like, yeah, there's no need. This is real. You know, like, this really went kind of that way, you know. Whereas in Christianity, it's like, oh shit, we got another book. Oh, another book. It's like, what are you doing? Why is this a New Testament, Old Testament? Even naming it that is totally giving it away. You know what I'm saying? It's like, here's your update on your Windows, you know? It's like, because the old shit is crap and didn't work anymore, so now you got a new one. Wow, bro. I always end up fucking bashing Christianity. I feel so bad. I feel bad because it's not about... No, it is. Most Christians are not nice people. Very, very intolerant and ignorant people, unfortunately. But the ones that aren't, the Christians that aren't, are really holier than hell. Really. I mean, granted, I've not met many, but I've met like one or two in my life, and they were really like, they would have literally given their lives like laughing and smiling. No problem, I'm about to see God, thank you. And I'm like, thanks, bro, you're awesome. You know what I mean? But not many. And Satanists, yeah, you know, free, some of them really selfish in a way. I've noticed that over the years. I thought about that the other day. There's a couple of Satanists that are very selfish and very yeah, with no spirit, if you will. And pagans, I've really not met many. I can only speak for my own self. I don't meet many people as it is anyway, so it's kind of hard, for me to be judging people anymore. And most people that I have met in the last 16 years here being in Florida were of Christian faith or were some sort of like hippie fucking acid tripping Rastafarians. Like, I don't know. I can't find anybody here like that I can really relate to or be with or nothing. So, but anyway. Let me just do this for Scooby here. If he's even still here, he's probably like, oh God, I'm leaving. I'm glad we're having that talk though, because I'm going to dissect that topic that I put in Discord tonight, because I really like that. And it's simple. It's not so hard. It's really just a sentence about a huge topic. There was some stuff before that particular part that I wanted to also discuss, but I was like, I'll keep it a little simple, because I've heard some people say, oh, this is a little bit like, like a lot. So can you and I want to ease people into this. So are you still here, Scooby, or have you left? Is it Duran? Hard to tell. It's Journey, I think. Love isn't always on time. Love isn't always on time. Who is that again? Is that Journey? Why is that on there? It's so weird, because it's a new wave playlist, but that song has played once before on my thing, and I liked it, and I think that's why it was coming on. But I got my 80s new wave. It should be like Duran Duran or The Smiths or something. Because it's like I have my schedule on Friday nights. I got to stop doing that. Because it doesn't work. Because I'm streaming. So it's fucking stupid. On 10 o'clock on Friday nights, my Alexa, she has so set up the... Hello, Dragana. Let's kick off the weekend with your playlist. And please tell the cat to stop tormenting me. And it's like, which cat? But I've set that up, and it's kind of cute. And I remember Draven was like, what? How does she know that? when that first happened, I was like, no, I programmed that in there. Damn. AI freaking you out much? It was funny. Are you there, Scooby, or are you're gone? You might be gone. What's the other thing I was gonna say? Yeah. So I'm silly right now. No, but I love our playlist, because then I sit here, and while I'm streaming, I hear it downstairs. I hear it, but I really have to listen. It's like I can't really hear it. Just gonna look at that screenshot that I took of the book. Oh, the perfect right there. Ooh, I really fucked my hand up. Okay, so I'm just gonna read it, and then I'm just gonna kind of. The idea was metaphysical as well as physical. The hidden interpretation embracing gods or souls in the shape of atoms as the causes of all the effects produced on earth by the secretions of the divine bodies. Okay, this is the first part. No ancient philosopher, not even the Jewish Kabbalists, ever dissociated spirit from matter or vice versa. Everything originated in the one and proceeding from the one must finally return to the one. That is, side note, that is the entirety of esotericism. Okay? Everything that originates in one and proceeding from the one must finally return to the one. It's like literally like, that's how I imagine it, at least. Light becomes heat and consolidates into fiery particles, which, from being ignited, become cold, hard particles, round and smooth. And this is called soul, imprisoned in its robe of matter, which is the body. Right? So, okay, so this is like a three-parter here, I guess. So the first part, the idea was metaphysical as well as physical. So this is all about what I said earlier about every little atom, because everything that is of physical matter, of any matter for that matter, is made of atoms, or comes from atoms, that then make millions, trillions, billions of atoms make a whole thing, whatever it may be, right? The hidden interpretation embracing gods or souls in the shape of atoms as the cause of all the effects produced on earth by the secretions from the divine bodies. Okay, so literally the way you can envision it is like you have God, right? God, the divine, whatever this may be. Let's call it dark matter. I like to use dark matter because dark matter is still such one of those things that is so, we know it exists, but we have so little understanding of it, right? So dark matter could be responsible for so many different things that are happening, okay? Including what we're speaking of here. You know, if you will, dark matter could be literally the god of everything, you know. So we're just going to use that as an example. For instance, dark matter. You can imagine dark matter encompassing everything in existence, the entire universe, everything. You know, it connects. Dark matter is literally in the crevices that we cannot see. It connects everything. It is literally in between the particles that make up our finger, in between the atoms that make up our finger, is what we call dark matter, and it works as a magnet, keeping everything together. Okay, so then talking about it this way, gods are souls in the shape of atoms, tiny little pieces of everything, as the causes of all the effects produced on earth, causes of all the effects, whatever is happening on earth, by the secretions of the divine bodies. Secretions is, you know, like you could think of it like as something leaving something else, something coming out of something or whatever. So I imagine it literally like dark matter is raining little tiny particles that make up everything. Okay, God, dark matter, rains little tiny atoms, molecules that then magnetize together and become something, a person, a cat, a chair, a microphone, whatever it is. Okay, so that's the part, that's the theory, or you know, that's the philosophy that she's coming up with, you know, that she's establishing through philosophy actually, and through science. Okay, no ancient philosopher, not even Jewish Kabbalists, ever dissociated spirit from matter or vice versa. That's pretty simple. Spirit and matter is one. It is one. It is literally like we are made of spiritual matter, if you will. Everything is made in some sense of spiritual matter because it's all secretion from the divine body that makes everything up, right? Perfect. Everything originated in the one, and proceeding from the one must finally return to the one. So now that one I interpret, that one I feel like has two interpretations. Okay, so it's like while we're still alive or while we're still working or whatever, we continue to always, like, we come from the divine, from dark matter, whatever, and we always keep going back. Like, we're always connected. We always keep going back. Our molecules, our spiritual molecules, the stuff that's not physical, is always connected and keeps going back and forth. It's like all the time. It's like an engine, right? That's what drives maybe our conscious, maybe our soul, that what we cannot know, that is a soul, our soul at all times. So we always go back and forth to the divine. But on the other hand, it is when we die, right? We have come from that. And when we die, the spiritual molecules of ourselves that are in between, that are holding together, I guess, everything, they go back to the divine. That is esotericism. That's exactly what this is about. It goes back to the divine, okay? It goes back to where it comes from. So when we die, we shed this mortal, and this is where we're coming to the last part of this, I think. We shed this mortal coil that we're bound to in this universe, in this realm, in this existence, and return to where we came from. It is actually simpler than we think, because it's like, I remember my mother told me she had a conversation with somebody one time, and she talked to this person, and they spoke about death. Death was the topic. And now my mother was an atheist. She did not believe in any of this. My mother was a woman of the stern science. There was nothing else for her that made any sense to her. So it was like, she would explain to the person, I'm not afraid of dying, but I am afraid of death. And that person gave her a very valuable thing, because my mother actually told me about this. And my mother, it was not like that, because oftentimes she would really disregard many things that people would tell her, because she just said that's nonsense, to her. But this one, she said, this was really interesting what the person said in response. And what the person said in response to her saying that she was afraid of death, the person said, were you afraid before you were born? Because that's exactly what happens when you die. You cease to exist in the manner that you know existence is, and your reality is. What you remember before you were born is nothing. Now, some people claim they remember a past life, blah, blah, blah. That's a different discussion. We're not going to get into that right now, because I can see how science could jump in there and make sense of that. But most of us say, before I was born, like nothing, like and that's exactly the same place you'll go back again. You go home, in a sense. You go back to the divine, where you came from originally. Your consciousness, your soul, everything about you. Now your body goes to the earth. Your body then belongs to the physical realm for eternity, because your bones will last until they turn into dust, but that takes a very long time. But your spiritual self will go back to the divine, in a sense. Okay, and then here it was actually leading to this final part. So light becomes heat and consolidates into fiery particles, which from being ignited become cold. I don't understand why which from being ignited, because actually it's a cool down. I don't know, but whatever. Become cold, when you have something, you have, you forge a sword. It makes very much sense. You forge a sword, and it's very soft, and you hit it with a hammer, and you have to keep it at a very, very high temperature the whole time in order for it to be soft, so you can shape in it, okay, like a blacksmith. That is chemical, that is just science, okay? And then when this ignition and this fire stops, it cools down, and then the sword becomes hard. Then the sword becomes solid and is no longer bendable, at least not as easily as it would be with this high temperature. It becomes cold, hard particles, round and smooth. This is called soul, imprisoned in its robe of matter, which is the body. Now, what this is trying to say is that the ignition, literally like a lighter, like when the flame sparks, that's how our souls came to be. That's how they were. Until the chemical reaction of the cool down, that's why I don't understand why it says from being ignited. Initially, I guess. Then that makes sense. Becomes cold. That's an important part. My interpretation, at least, that I'm about to say. And this is called soul. And prison. So now, what she's saying is that, hey, Bloodtastic, how are you? So what, hey, Emily, greetings. Welcome in. How are you doing? Sign of life. Yeah, it's Duran Duran now. Okay, so what she's saying? You guys came in at a perfect timing because I've already talked about the more complicated stuff, and this is the easier stuff now. So, I'm good. Thank you. It's Friday. I'm happy because I've had a long week physically rather than mentally, actually. But yeah, I'm glad it's coming to an end. My feet are killing me. Couldn't even walk down the stairs this morning. My bone spurs were killing me like that. I already said that earlier. I sound like an 80-year-old girl. Oh, really? Bloodtastic. Look at that. Good. Well, good. I hope everything is okay, though. I hope that you're not in bad shape. But okay, so let me see here. Oh, okay. So what she's trying to say is now that the soul that was established in our body, right, was established by an ignition, like a, it really is kind of in the cliche sense like a fire in our heart, right? A fire caused us to have a soul in our body. But then the cool down is what in a sense, the way I interpret it is, because it says here, this is called, I'm going to just read the sentence again, because I need to also make the, understand it. Light becomes heat and consolidates into fiery particles, which, from being ignited, become cold, hard particles, round and smooth, and this is called soul, imprisoned in its rope of matter. So, the whole universe came from combustion, from an explosion, from fire. And that's exactly, everything comes from that. So, but once this all cools down, now we're in kind of an inanimate state of our soul, right? Unless we get involved in the spiritual teachings, and unless we get educated, and unless we start practicing heating our soul once more. That is, I think this is one interpretation. This is more on the spiritual interpretation. But yes, it's a very, let me see. Oh, okay, I thought you guys said something. But yeah, so let me see, because what I really want to do right now is I actually want to go and see how that continued, that sentence. Nope. It's in here, isn't it? It's here. Aha, it's here. Okay, so Okay, and continues this way. Atoms and souls having been synonymous in the language of the initiates. Again, bringing up how the spirit, or the spirit matter, so to say, and the physical matter are not separate. They're one. Okay, so there's even spirit in your smallest molecule of your fucking body, so to say. Okay. Yeah, and then this part I read. The learned Jewish initiates never meant by promised land Palestine alone, but the same nirvana as the learned Buddhist and Brahmin do, the bosom of the eternal one, symbolized by that of Abraham and by Palestine as its substitute on earth. So it's a metaphor. Palestine, when the Jewish people is something she speaks about a lot, how the Jewish people and their faith, because it goes much deeper. There's so much deeper and more hidden knowledge involved in the Jewish faith than most people understand. To me, it's of high interest. I've been actually thinking about reading more books on that too. No, I haven't, Scooby. I forgot again. Damn it. Sorry, fuck. And I even yesterday, I swear to you, yesterday I was like, before I stream tomorrow, I have to go on Twitch and check out that video before. I swear to you, I thought about that and then I still fucking forgot. Damn it. No, I'm gonna watch it. I'm sorry. But, so again, Palestine as its substitute on earth. When they talk about going to the promised land, you know how they talk about often, in the story of Moses, and he freed his people, the Hebrew people, lead us to the promised land. It is more metaphorical than it is actually Palestine. It's not Palestine, because what is there? Nothing is there. It's just a desert land, pretty much. It is the promised land, is the land back to the divine, in esoteric terms, from where they originated from where they came from. The passage of the soul atom through the 7 planetary chambers had the same metaphysical, also physical meaning. It had the latter when it was set to dissolve into aether. Because that's exactly aether, the spirit, the divine, dark matter, magic, little tiny molecules and atoms. Everything is made of this aether. Okay, or is in this aether and lives in the aether. Okay, even Epicurus, the model atheist and materialist, knew and believed so much in the ancient wisdom that he taught that the soul, entirely distinct from immortal spirit, when the former is enshrined latent in it, as it is in every atomic speck, was composed of a fine, tender essence formed from the smoothest, roundest, and finest atoms. So to say that the soul is definitely something that is in existence, something that exists. When people, when we talk about, people say, there's no such thing as a soul, it's only hormones, and such things. We can already know that that's not true. We can know that that's true very easily, because we act upon emotions. What is that? Is Bye, Florida Metal. Have a good night. Thank you for coming. Where does that come from? It doesn't come from hormones. Not all the time. Being angry at something is not hormonally balanced or caused by hormones all the time. That's not how that works. Having memories, missing somebody. These are not hormonally based feelings. These are just feelings that we have. And we have them why? How? Because if the scientists will claim that we only work on hormones like every animal, that's not true. Because even so, animals in a sense to me are superior to us because they have yet to even learn hate or fight anybody because of hate, because of negative emotions or deconstructive or non-constructive emotions, right? So they are everything that we fail to be in that sense. However, we have ascended to the next level of actually acting upon these negative emotions that we have developed over millennia of evolution. And where does that come from? That's not just based on hormones. That is because there's the word soul to me is a little bit more on the wishy-washy, flaky word. I don't really. Soul is not a good word anymore because it's been trampled on and it's been abused. So I like to say cognition. Our cognition. The cognition is how we it's part of the soul. The soul to me is the consciousness. I think the consciousness and the soul is the same thing. And I like to use consciousness because consciousness is literally like it's more of it's a term that can be more that can be applied better than soul. Soul is just like, oh, soul, soul is like a little bright shining ball that's floating inside of you, No, consciousness. Like we are conscious. And we're so conscious, and our consciousness just keeps growing, and that's exactly the whole point of this. It keeps growing until the time comes where we're so conscious that we don't need this mortal shell anymore, and we can live in our consciousness without a body, in a sense. That's one of the things that she explains in Isis Unveiled. In Isis Unveiled, there's a part where she talks about the fact that, for instance, let's say a murderer, somebody that is an offender of in that sense, and that is literally a violent person. They have no regrets. They have no what do you call it? What is this word? Not regrets, but the other one where they say, oh man, damn it, I fucked up, like, fuck, what's that word again? Also with an R, I think. Not regards, but anyway, so these people that act and like I always tell you guys, I don't like to use the word evil or bad or good, because what's good for what the fly thinks is the perfect thing, the mosquito is like, oh, this is awful. This is an interpretation. It is all based on interpretation, and of course also on the personal and subjective moral compass of any person, of any human. So I like to think about it. I always tell you guys, I like to think about it as constructive or destructive. Not destructive. Destructive is still constructive. So as a deconstructive thing, right? Or unconstructive thing, really, right? So that's how I like to put it. I don't know if that's actually a word, but if that were a word, that would define it the best. So So somebody that works their way in their life entirely unconstructive, purposefully unconstructive. Okay, they have remorse is the word. They have no remorse. They have no regard. They have no regret. They just move through life unconstructive. They don't do anything constructively for anything. Not for themselves, not for anybody, not for their body, not for their consciousness, not for their fucking fingernails, not for their fucking eyebrows, like nothing. They do nothing constructively, nothing to build something, to contribute in any way to society. I don't like society, but to the world, okay? Society. I don't like to use the term society. The world. So these people, when they die, their spirit, this is Helena Blavatsky's teaching, and I can kind of grasp it. I can totally grasp it. Do I 100% agree with it? I'm unsure. I have to kind of think about this more. But on the basic level, I can understand it, and I can agree with it to 85%. That when this person dies, that does that their whole life, their spirit, what the matter that their spirit is made of, when it leaves the body, when it comes out, it will completely scatter. It will scatter in all directions, everywhere. It's so weird because I always imagine in order to be able for me to see, to visualize it, is I imagine it as a bunch of different colored glitter. And it's a bunch of little, it's like a ball of glitter or whatever, and the person dies, all that glitter just, and all that glitter just flies everywhere. And that is not a constructive thing, and this is not a helpful thing for the spirit and for the individual, for the person themselves that they are, because when the spirit scatters like this, they will never have the chance of being able to reborn in that same spirit, soul, consciousness, whatever you want to call it. They are now scattered, and the way they were before. Because when, on the deathbed, most people will say, oh my God, I don't want to die. And they will hope that when they die, that their spirit, that their consciousness, that their soul will be as they were when they were alive, in some sense, at least together, combined, and that they can somehow live an afterlife of some sort, that they can be conscious in some way. Or then again, be reborn again with that same, because they like themselves in that sense and who they are. But when they do these things, when they act the way that they do, they will never have the chance. They will never have the chance of anything. This consciousness, soul, spirit is now completely scattered and is completely recycled into the ether. Now, the opposite side. People that spend their life spiritually honing themselves, working on a good moral compass. And I'm not saying indoctrinated by religion, because that then it comes not from the right place. My moral I don't know how it goes, because it is as bizarre as consciousness itself. For me, my moral compass is so weird, because of course my mother taught me, don't do, blah blah blah, but I can feel in myself when there are things that go on, and my moral compass says, don't do this is bad. That does not come from my mother's teaching. That shit is so embedded in me that thought doesn't even cross my mind. It's just so it's just automatic. It's so natural for me not to do that. It's so extremely natural that it's unnatural. And that comes from somewhere else. That comes either from thousands of years of honing of the morality and the spirituality of your ancestors, and it's all, after thousands of years embedded into you, or it comes from a whole nother place. But it is like when a person embraces, let's say, these outside forces, these outside elements, these elements that have not been equated by science yet. I tell you guys that all the time. These forces, these things that have no mathematical equation yet on the spectrum, but that will one day, and that are just now called, at the moment, called alchemy, or they're called magic, or they're called dark matter. One day they will be in the books of science, when technology has led us, when scientists, conventional scientists, have evolved technology to a point where these things are recordable. Okay? Now, a person that follows this path naturally, not forcefully, but really naturally follows this path of looking at these things, following a sort of a spiritual path, in a sense, trying to be constructive in their life, not unconstructive or deconstructive, if you will. Then when they die, this is her teaching, when they die, that spirit, that soul, that essence, that consciousness that releases from the physical body will not scatter. It will, in fact, stay as a whole, together, given it the possibility of being implemented into another whole physical body, or to ascend to another realm, in a sense, to another universe, whatever you want to call it. So that is the teaching. And that to me makes sense, because I think on a physical basis, even when I think about it now, it's like we are literally, example, people have really thought there could be a person, and for like 10 years they're thinking, I have fucking cancer. I have cancer. And then they really, there was no reason, and it turns out they have cancer. My mom always said, they have thought themselves into having cancer. They have manifested this. It is the same with everything else. Because the mind is so powerful. You have monks that literally light themselves on fire, and they can sit there like this until they die or whatever, get put out, and they will not budge. They have spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically honed themselves and trained themselves so much that they can overcome anything and everything. And that's exactly the point. Because it is a training. It is training and training and training of your spirit and your mind to understand that you can hone it, that you can keep it magnetized together. So when you pass, that your spirit will not scatter. Your spirit will be together. And whatever happens to it, your spirit will be one. Your soul will be there in one. And then you will ascend to wherever you will go, maybe even into another body again. And that's a teaching. And I agree with it. Is there some kinks that would need to be worked out? Yes, I do think so. I don't think it works easily. I think there's other things to it, because I think that it's not only based on the spiritual. I also think it has something to do with the physical, because my mother was a believer, for instance, for some reason. She was a very big believer she disliked tattoos very much. And my mother was not a judgmental person in that sense. She was not really that person. Maybe a little bit, but it was like she She was judgmental in first stages when it comes to tattoos, but then she got to meet people with tattoos, and then she had a totally different outlook on it, right? And she was like, whatever. And she admitted that of herself too. But then it came to me and my brother, for instance, tattoos. And then she would still say, don't do it. Don't get a tattoo. And it's like, now, was it from a judgmental standpoint? That's why she still didn't want us to do it. The problem with that is that I knew my mother, and the way my mother was so adamant about it, in such a like low-key way, that it wasn't like, it was almost like weird, makes me believe like there was some sort of reason. There was a bigger reason than she found him ugly. Because my mother was always the person that said, I will love you however, whatever you do. It doesn't matter what you do. So that was not the point. No point could lead to, her. So I do believe that this ascension of your spirit, of your soul, whatever, or your, the molecules of your spirit still as a combined entity ascending, has also something to do with your physical. That if you continue, if you try to strive for your own personal individual best physical attributes that you want for yourself, I think that can also help. I don't know how I can explain it properly, but I think there's some connection, because maybe it leads back to what the Kabbalists preach and teach, is that the spirit and the physical have never been disconnected. They've always been one. You see? So, yeah. So, there's a lot to think about there. But yeah, there's only one of you guys, nobody's really saying much in here. I don't know if I blabber too much and nobody's... Guy? Hi, Guy. You came in right now. Oh my god, you're so cute. Hi, baby. What are you doing? You came to visit me because you love me. That's why. You only come because you love me. Oh, come here, big man. Oh, Purry Monster. Purry Monster. Hi, Purry Bear. How you doing? Oh, there's my guy. He's so good with a tooth. Sleeping man. I love a sleeping man. You're so handsome. What happened here? I love you too. I love you too. Handsome guy. Pretty monster man. I love calling him a monster man. He's a monster man. Handsome. He's a big man now, my god. He's the biggest man. He's the biggest man. Cuddle guy. Cuddle guy. Cuddle. Stretchy. Stretchy man. Ooh. Okay. He's a big stretchy guy. What's he doing? No, you can't drink that. No. That is not good for the guy. No way. Go to the ladle. She's on the couch. Go to her. Just don't attack her, please. Don't do that. And animals, perfect example. Then, because people will ask these questions, people will say, oh, okay, well, animals, how do they do it? Well, animal, I see you, but, look at these. Stop fucking around. Animals, they don't even have to do anything. They don't even have to try. That's the good thing, because animals never come from a place of destruction or unconstruction. Never. Unconstructiveness. They never do. They only do things constructively. No, but you get my point. They don't do anything that's out of the nature. They do not go out of their way to act out of nature in some sort of misguided emotional attempt. So they don't have to do anything. They will send. Yep. Even so, look at that right there. Look at them. They contradicted me right now. Violent. Hey. Stop it. Why are you so violent with her? He loves her. It's not, he does not want to hurt her and kill her or anything like that. He's just so violent. He doesn't know his own, like, stuff. I don't know. But alright, guys. I see that there's only one person in here now. And I've been fucking... So, maybe I'll just come back tomorrow, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow. Sorry if some of you maybe not being able to follow or are not interested, but this is ultimately what my stream is about, and this is why I built this, channel for this reason, and I really want to get back to it, and it means a lot to me. And also, never be afraid to ask questions and interject while I'm talking, to ask, oh, what does this mean? I will explain it. I want to talk about this. I want to teach you, and all of that stuff. So don't ever be afraid to ask, So, but for tonight, I think I'm going to go. I thank you all for being here. Who was all here? Havixi has subscribed. Thank you so much. Bloodtastic, thank you for coming in. Florida Metal, Emily, Scooby, yeah, baby contributed actually to the conversation, which was awesome. Diddly Engine, sorry that stuff didn't work for you. I don't know how to help with that stuff. I'm not good at it, or good with it, I should say. But yeah, thank you guys all so much for coming tonight. I had a good time talking about this this topic. So yeah, so I hope I will see you guys tomorrow. Until then, don't forget to mourn those in spiritual turmoil, and until tomorrow I say tschüss, zdravo, and bye.